Welcome back, everybody. Dynasty Nerds, Dynasty Lunch Break here on this Thursday before Christmas. We are in the semifinals. Now, I have a little fantasy football quiz planned for today. But that being said, I know that there's a lot of questions this time of year. And if we need to spend this time talking over these start sits, these stashes, these trades, the 25 class, I'm going to prioritize that because I care about you guys and I want to do that. But if we have extra time and we want to get into some fantasy football quiz questions, I think that would be kind of fun. So, let's go ahead and get into it. First one here, Desperate Times, Nick, Brock Purdy, Cooper Rush, Mac Jones this week, one quarterback semifinals. Let me pull up my weekly rankings here so that way I make sure that I also have all the matchups in front of me as well. So let me do that real quick while we're discussing, while we're talking. So we have Brock Purdy, he's got Miami. We've got Mac Jones, who has Las Vegas. And then we have Cooper Rush. Who does Cooper have this week? He's got Tampa Bay. So all those pretty decent matchups. I'm probably sticking with Brock Purdy, though. Miami's defense, middle of the road against quarterbacks so far this season. And both of these teams technically still have a shot at the playoffs. And two really good offensive minds dueling it out. So I think it could be a fun, high-scoring affair. So I would probably go with Brock Purdy. Broken. Am I broken? Typically, I am. Might start Mac there, but Purdy's the safe option. All right, start two. Taylor, Brian Robinson at the Eagles, Rico Dottle, Jerome Ford. I almost said Isaiah Ford. Isaiah Spiller, Isaiah Pacheco. What is my problem? Isaiah Pacheco and Spears if Pollard does not play. So if Pollard doesn't play, Spears is a really interesting option this week as a potential start. But overall, right now, Pacheco does worry me. I wouldn't be thrilled about starting him. I don't really want to start Brian Robinson. Rico's been really good, honestly. Rico's been really good so far this season, especially lately. He's got Tampa Bay, which is a pretty nice matchup. So I think I'm going to be going with Rico Dottle on this one. I think Rico Dottle is the start for me. All right. Faith, family, fantasy football. I have not given up on Brock Purdy. High risk, high reward. Max says, with only 2 weeks left in the season, who are some of the guys that you're stashing for next year prior to waivers being frozen for the off season? That's a good question. And honestly, I haven't given it a ton of thought yet as to anybody. And I do like to do that. I like to look at players that I think could have elevated roles. One of the best things to do would be to go back and listen to our last couple episodes on the running back rooms and the wide receiver rooms and the tight end rooms, and which teams just don't have a lot of players, period. And so maybe somebody gets elevated because there's just not a lot of guys in those rooms under contract currently. So sometimes guys get elevated a little bit because of that. Guys that are behind a free agent, that's always an interesting one as well. But yeah, as far as specific names, I'd have to do a little more research before I could say confidently players that I would be really targeting or not. Connor says 1.5 tight end premium, Hawk or Jameson Williams. Been a while since we had a JMO blow up game. Am I crazy for wanting to risk it this week, Connor? It all depends on, how risky you're feeling for this championship or the semifinal round. Is this a game where you're like, man, the team I'm playing is a juggernaut? They're projected to win by 20 points. I'm going to have a really tough time contending with them. Well, then go ahead and throw JMO in there because he's going to give you a better shot at that crazy blow up game. But if it's close or I'm projected to win, I'm probably sticking with TJ Hawkinson there. Sweetness, I already have Achane and Jonnu starting. Do I sit Tyreek Hill for Kittle or Aaron Jones? Probably not. I think you're starting all those guys. This would be another one, though, where I'm going to take into consideration where I'm at in the overall scheme of things. Like if I am a legitimate favorite this week, then I think that gives me the safety net of, yeah, if Tyreek doesn't blow up, then Johnny Smith probably had a good game or H. Like that kind of helps. If I'm down, though, the odds of all three of those guys having big games are pretty low. So then I would be more open to making that kind of move. Michael Warno's in here. What's good, my guy? Man, Michael and I started at Dynasty Nerds right around the same time. We were new writers together, and he's been crushing it lately. So Michael, it's good to see you, my guy. Eli was good. Nerve level heading into the semis is at an all-time high. I hear you. So far, it's been a pretty good year for your boy. It's been a pretty good year. So 22 leagues. In 22 leagues. I knew going in, though, that 3 of them, no chance. No chance. They were complete rebuilds. They were teardowns from last year. So I knew there was no chance. So of the 19 leagues, I made the playoffs in 15 of those 19 leagues that I knew I had a chance. And I'm in the semis in 10 of those. So out of 22 total leagues, to be in the semis in 10, feel pretty good about that. So, yeah. Sounds like Faith Family Fantasy Football agrees with me. Just Josh, what's good, buddy? I'm so happy you're on today. Stuck in the hospital with pneumonia. No, Josh, that sucks, my guy. I am so sorry. That blows. Hopefully you get mostly recovered and feeling back to your normal self by Christmas. Andrew, is there any way I start Rachaad White over Aaron Jones or Henry since he plays Dallas? Look, Rachaad White has been really good. He's been a lot better than I've expected him to be once Bucky took over, because we at Dynasty Nerds, we kind of called that from early on. This is going to be Bucky Irving. But Rachaad White has still maintained relevance, and a lot of that had to do with missing Chris Godwin and missing Mike Evans. But even since Mike Evans has been back, White's been still pretty involved. However, his total number of touches would indicate that him continuing to get in the end zone is pretty fluky. And that's kind of the reason that he's been good, is he seems to be scoring a decent amount of touchdowns. So I don't know that I would play Rachaad White over either one of those guys personally. Do I understand it? Sure. But I don't think I would do it. Crunchy Fries, sit to tight end PPR, Garendo, Tracy, Hawkinson, Ridley, ETN. Right now off the rip, I'm definitely sitting ETN. Things have just not gone his way, not gone the Jaguars' way. I am not trusting him in a semifinal matchup. I do. Who does Tennessee have again this week? Tennessee has. I feel like I'm missing him. There it is. Indianapolis. Actually, Indy's been pretty decent against receivers. More of a run funnel. Man, I would probably going with Tyrone Tracy and Isaac Garendo. I think that's your best option there. Garendo gets the Miami defense. That's not anything to worry about. Tracy against Atlanta, that's not a bad matchup either. I wouldn't blame you for going Hawkinson over Tracy though. That's where it's really, really close for me. TJ Hawkinson, he's got Seattle. They're not great against the tight end. So I think those two are very close, but we'll see. Cowboy says, I'm in the last year of a Superflex tight end rebuild. No real starting running backs. My room at quarterback is Dak, Daniels, AR, and Stroud. Should I move Stroud for more picks in running back depth? I would have no problem with that. If there's a team kind of looking to shore up their Superflex spot in the playoffs, and you can look, I'm still, even with him having an off year, he is still a young quarterback that is locked into this job. So if that's the case, like I still need a first and a massive plus, actually probably close to 2 firsts. A young starting quarterback, I would need close to the value of 2 firsts. Caden, I finally get to be here for a lunch break. You guys got a snowstorm in Wisconsin. Nice. So did Justin. Look at that. Look at that. Loving it. Loving it. Justin and Caden get to be here because, hey, school's out. School's out, baby. The topic of who should you stash for next year is intriguing. I've missed the buy and sell of the week. I know some trade deadlines have passed, but I hope we'll hear some more of that again soon. Lucas, we will definitely be bringing back the buys and the sells, honestly, as soon as the season ends, because most trade deadlines are gone. I know that there's a few leagues that you can trade even in the playoffs, but 98% of leagues you cannot. So we kind of went away with the buys and sells of the week, but they will be back soon. Does Stone Smart have any dynasty value in tight end premium? I have Ritter, and I was thinking about releasing him for Stone. What do you think? I'd have no problem doing that. I don't know that he has any real value, but that being said, right now, there's really no tight end that's exciting in LA. I think the odds of them drafting somebody are pretty high, or maybe going after a free agent. But that being said, he's played well in his opportunities. Current quarterback room is Daniels and Penix have the 101, 104, and 109. Plan on taking Ashton Genty at 101, but not sure if to take Ward or Sanders at 1-4. I can package the 109 for Prescott or Baker. 12-team Superflex. Honestly, so you would have to give 104 and 109 for Prescott or Baker. Okay, that makes it tough then. I don't know if I would be willing to do that. I think I would rather take the rookie quarterback that I like more at 104 and then use the 109 at other position probably. If Kamara is out, do I start Tank Bigsby or Amir Abdullah? Woof. That is rough. Amir Abdullah, let's see. Actually, these guys are going head to head, aren't they? Jacksonville has Vegas this week. Yeah, Jacksonville has Vegas. I would probably go with Tank Bigsby. Better shot of getting in the end zone. But that's a tough call. That's a really tough call. Greg, Bills defense 2 consecutive weeks minus points at home versus New England, or Texans at KC, possibly Wentz starting. Does not sound like it's going to be Wentz. Everything I'm hearing, it sounds like they are going that route. If I have the bench depth, I'm probably adding both and seeing if it's Wentz, then I'm 100% starting the Texans defense. If not, I still don't really want to start the Bills defense. I might be going Texans either way, honestly. Their defense has just not been good, and Drake May's been balling out. Can I start Marvin Harrison Jr.? Depends who else you have, but most teams are not going to have a better option. Most teams are not going to have a better option. Caden, who do you start this week? Patrick Mahomes, Tua, or Darnold? I need a win this week for my self-esteem after last week. All right, so looking at the quarterback position, right now, Patrick Mahomes, I would have a hard time trusting just because of that ankle. if things start to go sour, they could pull them at any moment. They're thinking playoffs. They're not as worried about getting the bye. Obviously, every team wants the bye, but they want Patrick Mahomes for the playoffs more than anything else. So I'm probably not playing him. So then it comes down to, do I start Tua or do I start Darnold? Tua's been playing pretty well, although obviously this past week was a little bit of a bummer. I think that could be a pretty high-scoring affair. But Sam Darnold's been dealing. Yeah, he only had one touchdown pass this week, but Seattle, I think Seattle's a team that they're going to be pulling out all the stops to try to make the playoffs. Minnesota's trying to kind of keep pace and potentially win the division there against the Detroit Lions, which would then give them first place and a bye in the playoffs. So there's a lot on the line for both teams. I'll take Sam Darnold there in a very, very close one. Man, lots of questions. Sorry, I'm trying to get to them. All right, Peter, start one running back and two flex. Brees, Chuba, Henry, Kelsey, JSN. RB1 is Bijan, wide receiver 1 and 2 is CD, and Chase, tight end is McBride. So start one running back and then two flex. Right now, I get the worry about Derrick Henry. Past couple weeks have not been great, and he doesn't have an elite matchup against Pittsburgh. But either way, they're going to need Derrick Henry. They're going to, and chances are they get the lead. I don't see this being like Pittsburgh doesn't have the offense to just blow them out. So Derrick Henry's going to be involved, whether they're playing from a tiny bit behind or a tiny bit in front. Derrick Henry's going to be involved. And he had what, like 9 straight games of a touchdown or something like that. Like better days are ahead. So I'm not sitting Derrick Henry at this point. So Derrick Henry is absolutely starting for me. Brees, on the other hand, I am nervous about. I am nervous about Brees, if I'm being completely honest. So he's not like a must start for me. I would probably be starting Chuba over him. So I would probably go Chuba, Henry, and then JSN has been getting so many targets. I would probably then go with JSN. So I would be sitting Brees and Kelsey, which sounds wild, but I'd probably be sitting Brees and Kelsey. Crunchy Fry says Tennessee versus Indy. You had a thing earlier. Oh, like which one would I be starting this week? I would probably rather start Indy. Mason Rudolph. I mean, I get it. You're going to go up against Anthony Richardson too. But Anthony Richardson, yeah, I would rather go up against Mason Rudolph in that offense. So I'll take Indy. Chris, I have CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, and Superflex. Wondering if I should prioritize a quarterback or just best available in my draft with a top 3 pick. Always best available in your rookie drafts. You can always trade it if you're like, look, I want a quarterback. Okay, trade for a quarterback that's better value then. But the best available might be a quarterback at pick 3. Chances are it probably is. So if it's 3, that's probably the case. Now, if it's 1, I'm taking Ashton Jetty all day long. If it's 2, it's close in a super flex between Tet McMillan and one of those quarterbacks. So always go best available. If you need a specific position, then you make the trades. But in the draft, don't draft a lesser tier player just because you need that. Trade for an equal tier player that fills that position of need. Oh, it sounds like Garendo's unlikely to play. All right. Well, if that's the case, okay. Well, then that changes things. Where was a question about Garendo? If that's the case, then I think it's Tracy and Hawkinson. There. Andrew, with Lamar balling out lately, do we think that opens up Henry during the fantasy playoffs? I just talked about him a little bit, but yes, I am absolutely still in on Derrick Henry. Semifinal start, Purdy, Love, or Goff. Purdy, Love, or Goff. Man, all of those guys, I literally have them ranked 8, 10, 11. So I have all of those guys ranked right next to each other. I don't love Goff when he's not in a dome. Chicago's got a decent defense too, so it's not Goff for me. I would probably be going Jordan Love against New Orleans. That defense does not have Marshawn Lattimore anymore, and everything's just kind of a hot mess there. You could see some turnovers by their quarterback too, so some short fields for some touchdowns. I will go Jordan Love in that one. Yeah. Hey, I love. Hey, look, if it's gonna be cold, give me snow. Obviously, for you guys, it's not that cold, but if it's gonna be cold, give me snow. Birdman, I have Kirk as my second quarterback on both my Superflex teams, both in the playoffs. No other starters on my rosters. How much would you be panicking for next year? I wouldn't be panicking too much for next year. Kirk Cousins, I would be shocked if he is not starting somewhere next year. He will be the starter somewhere. Like Cleveland right now would absolutely love to have him. I could see the Giants being potentially in on him. The Saints just don't have the money to do it. I'm trying to think who else. There's 4 or 5 teams. Hold on, drop something. But yeah, there's plenty of teams out there that would absolutely love a Kirk Cousins on their roster. So I would not be overly concerned about that right now. May or Rodgers this week? I think you got to go May. Buffalo's been giving up a lot of points lately. Drake May's been playing really well. I've been super encouraged by what we've seen. So, yeah, that's where I would be going personally. Sweetness, Burton to buy low, or are we giving up on him? Definitely not giving up, especially with the likelihood that T. Higgins is going to be gone. Definitely not giving up. Am I encouraged by this year? No, not at all. But, yeah. All right, let's see. Jack, with Garendo ruled out, should I start Tracy or Rashad White? I would say this is. I don't love it. I will probably. I'll probably go with Rashad White against Dallas. Yeah, I'm probably going to go Rashad White, but it's close. Wesley, when are you taking your L on the BTJ slander? Look, I talked about it in on one of the shows. Look, he's played really well. He has played really well. I can't say anything against it. I just want to come back to the original question. It was supposed to be a hot take. And I just said I didn't have him at wide receiver 8. I felt comfortable more like wide receiver. I think at the time I said like 13-ish. I would move him up higher than that now. I'd probably have him probably still not wide receiver 8 though. I'd have him more like wide receiver 10. So that's the hard part is I think everybody blew that take to this huge proportion when really all I said was, according to KTC's value, he's overvalued right now. I would rather have other assets personally. I'm trying to remember who it was at the time. I know there's a couple that I wouldn't trade him for now. He's played too well, even with Mac Jones there. But there's definitely still some players that were behind him at the time that I would take over him. I would personally still rather Rashee Rice. It's close though. Nico Collins, I'd rather have over him. Garrett Wilson, I'd rather have over him. Obviously, the big 4 wide receivers, I'd rather have over him. That's Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'd probably still take A.J. Brown over him. So what does that put us at? Yeah, probably around 10. So yes, I get it. Like the way people framed that, yeah, it's super big L. But when you go back to the heart of the original question, it was just too high for me. That was really all it was. What's Tyrone Tracy's value in the offseason? And should I move on before this upcoming draft? I have Mixon and Saquon as well. I like Tyrone Tracy. I'm a Tyrone Tracy fan. I've talked about him a lot this season. However, there's a very good chance there's a new head coach. And anytime there's a new head coach, I always worry about non-elite players or players with big-time contracts. If that's the case, Tyrone Tracy falls into that category. So am I worried? Yeah, I'd be willing to move on for the right price. I'm not just giving him away, but for the right price, yes, I would absolutely be looking to move on from him. Pete, I don't know if it was you that I answered, but somebody had the exact same question, and I went with May. All right, Keenan Allen or Jerome Ford in 1 point PPR. 1 point PPR. Ooh, I think this week with Chubb being out and it being Cincinnati, I think that's a pretty good matchup. They've lost a couple more pieces the past couple weeks due to injury. Like, I got to go with Jerome Ford. Jason, Mayor Rodgers. We got a lot of people with Mayor Rodgers. Jack, 1 QB start 8, but moving to Superflex after this year. Have Herbert, Hurts, Rasheed, Brian Thomas Jr. on the roster in 101, 107, 110-ish. Am I crazy for trading back to 102 for Tet, then picking 2 running backs later on? Depends what you get. Do not sell that pick cheap, though. The way that people are valuing Ashton Genty, and they should be, he is that good. The way people are valuing Ashton Genty, the gap between 101 and 102 is very large. You should be expecting roughly another first in order to make that move. So if you're willing to do that, then cool. But yes, I need a full another first to move from 101 to 102. Flex, White, Pollard, Ferguson, or Debo. Sneaky Debo game with Garendo looking doubtful. Debo's been bad. Like, there's no way around it. Debo's been really bad. But if there was a week that I would consider firing him up, would probably be this week. This team has almost no shot left, but they do have a glimmer of hope of making the playoffs. Debo gets Miami, not a super difficult matchup. So I could see this being one of those weeks where Debo does have a good game. And that none of the other guys are like must starts for me. Pollard, he's been banged up. So you worry about that a little bit. White just doesn't get crazy volume. Ferguson has not been good since we lost. Why am I blanking? Dak Prescott. So all that being said, I think I'm okay with Debo. Sedated Fork, what's good, my guy? I actually just sent you a message. Yesterday, I think. Says, hello, my dude. Thank you for your support this month. Got a tough running back decision. Kamara or Garendo, and neither could play. Start Justice Hill. I mean, yeah, Kamara looks like he's going to be out. And Garendo was just ruled out. So, I mean, I don't know what other options you have, but you might just have to. You're probably going to have to, and you might have to find a replacement for both, which would suck. Choose 2, Laporta, Stevenson, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Jennings. Ooh, another tough one. I would probably go with I'm going with Juwan Jennings. He's been getting the looks, he's been getting the targets. So I'm in on Juwan Jennings. Laporta, Stevenson. So New England, they have Buffalo this week. I think I'm going to go with Stevenson. So give me Stevenson and Jennings in this one. Stevenson and Jennings. Well, I faded Baker, Bucky, and Evans versus the Chargers and lost the playoffs to Josh Allen. Ooh, sorry, my guy. Should I move Evans and Adams this offseason or just hold? Seems like I can get more value in season next year. If you think you can get more value in season next year, absolutely. If you're one of those leagues that you can sell during the playoffs, I would do it. But most leagues are not. But right now is the max value they're ever going to have in season right now. The second we switch to the offseason, they lose a ton of value, but then they'll gain a little bit again as the season starts. So if that's the case and you cannot make a trade right now, then I would be willing to do it in season next year. Half PPR, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, or DK Metcalf. Adam, this one, I wish I could answer clearly for you, but right now, I would say you're going to have to wait and see. Charbonnet missed practice yesterday. Kenneth Walker obviously hasn't been playing for a while. Like, how it would come down to me is if Kenneth Walker plays, you play him. If Charbonnet is in there and Kenneth Walker's not, you play him. Then if both are out, you go with DK Metcalf. That would be kind of the pecking order for me. All right. That's the right sit, Brees and Kelsey. Yes, one we talked about a little bit ago. My opening salvo of trash talk today, and any tips or tricks. I am trying to keep Rich out. Ooh. All right, so any trash talk for Rich. I would tell Rich that his feet aren't actually that impressive. He's very impressed with his feet. He had a girl in high school tell him that he has really nice feet, and he thinks he could be a foot model. So I would tell him that I don't think his feet are that great. That's what I would say. All right, let's see. Jared, tough one for me this week. Are we starting Penix or AR and Superflex, Kraft or Kincaid? And what do we do with Scary Terry this week? You're probably starting Scary Terry. There's not a lot of teams that would have the option of something better. So I would probably be starting Scary Terry in that situation. For me, Penix against the Giants, yes, please. I will take Penix over Anthony Richardson, despite that rushing upside. And then Kraft or Kincaid. Neither one are super consistent, but Kraft has been a little bit more consistent this year. I do like that it seems like Kincaid's being used downfield more, but this team could get up and then just run the ball more towards the end of the game. So I'll take Tucker Kraft against New Orleans, although they could end up being in the same boat. Let's see. Chris, no problem, buddy. When do the Nerd Herd shows come out? I joined about a week ago, and I don't think I've seen anything. So they come out every Friday. They usually come out every Friday. And also, welcome to the Nerd Herd, my guy. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. Yeah, so they come out every Friday is when we put them out. And I think you should be able, maybe you should be able to, at least on the website, access the old ones once you log in. So you can go on the website and access the old ones if you wanted to. Green Bay is going to dominate New Orleans, so we're going to run the ball more. I get that, but in order to dominate, I think we're going to be throwing the ball first, getting up a lot, and then we'll get a lot of Josh Jacobs. I'm glad I helped calm your nerves, Birdman. Do what I can. Watch Cousins go to Las Vegas and the Raiders and draft a quarterback next year. That's so mean. It's so mean. All right, Brett, Tillman, Hunt, or Kraft. I have a hard time starting anyone now that we have switched to DTR. The passing game is not going to be nearly as good with him at the helm. So I would probably be going with Kraft. Hunt has been kind of relegated to that backup role. So I would probably be going with Kraft. Love Cousins, but he's a strong brother in Christ, but he looks washed unless he's injured. He does, but sometimes it might just take a while to come back from that injury. I would be like, as a Browns fan, if I didn't have to pay his absorbent contract, which if he's released, you would not. If that's the case, like, I would be willing to take a shot on him for a cheap deal. All right, Peter, start one in my flex. Hunter Henry, K-Dot, and Mooney or Hopkins. Man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I would go with, I would probably take the upside shot on Mooney. That Penix does some good things and kind of brings back his value. If you want to play it a little bit safer, probably Hunter Henry if you want to play it safe. So upside would be the Mooney play. The safe play would be Hunter Henry. All right, I'm going to get to a couple more, and then I got to get out of here. Let's see. Aloha Panda. I need to pick 3 for my flex. Full PPR, half point, tight end, premium. Already have Bijan Gibbs, Puka, Chase, McBride, and spots. Flex between CD, Bowers, Amon-Ra, Henry, Mixon, Neighbors, Brian Thomas, or Lat. Bro, you just came in here to flex. Dang. Oh, that's some nice options to be trying to decide between. That's pretty crazy right there, honestly. That's pretty crazy. All right. Amon-Ra, too good, too consistent. Cannot sit him. So I will put him in there. It's tougher to trust Bowers right now with the situation going on at quarterback. So I would probably not start Bowers. So it'd be Amon-Ra. I still like Henry in this one. So I'm probably going with Henry. I like CeeDee Lamb in this matchup. So I'm probably going CeeDee Lamb. So it'd probably be CeeDee, Amon-Ra, and Henry for me. But it's very, very close. Mr. Bakes a lot. What's good? 1 QB, risk Hunter with 103, assuming it's announced he's a both. I would need him to be announced to be a receiver to take him at 103, because then I would worry that he would just be more of a gadget guy and not a legitimate option regularly at wide receiver. So that being said, I got to get out of here, guys. We never got to the quiz because we had so much fun talking, answering questions. Guys, best of luck. Truly, truly. This is a fun time of year, but it can get really frustrating if your teams take those semifinal and championship L's. So best of luck in the finals for all of you guys. I will talk to you again very soon.